are live. People are probably like, "What's going on? Where's the?" Oh, I got something on my shirt. What's going on? Why aren't you like behind the microphone and the intro and all that kind of stuff? It's because I didn't want to sit down at my computer. So I where am I looking here? Right there? Yeah, I think it's right there. Right there? Right there? Yeah, right there. Um, because I've been packing up t-shirts and hoodies for It's Me Billy Chapter 2. And I've got all the t-shirt, well, not most of the t-shirts packed up, and then divided into the sizes. And then I've got the hoodies over there that still have to go. So I've been doing that sort of all afternoon, and I just didn't feel like sitting down at my computer. So I thought, well, screw that. I'll just sit here on the floor and shoot this on my phone. By the way, if you've ordered an It's Me Billy Chapter 2 hoodie, here's what they look like. Absolutely gorgeous, huh? Whoa, look at that. Look at that, baby. Yeah, look at that shit. Really, really nice stuff. So those will be coming to you very soon. My plan is to ship them off next week, and so that should be good. Let me just get this. There was a super chat that came in off the top. I don't want to miss this. This is from VO Trapper, sends in $10. Says, "Hey Dave, I have some news. I'm starting Niagara College next week by doing academic upgrading. However, my website's going to be delayed in part to focus on college for a bit." That's amazing, dude. Congratulations. Niagara College is the college I went to. I was at the Welland campus in Welland, Ontario. And so, congratulations. Good luck with it, man. Yeah, Niagara's a good school. They got a campus in Welland, St. Catharines, Niagara on the Lake, I think. There's even a Niagara College or a Niagara University or something in across the river in New York State. Anyway, I just wanted to get that before I forgot. But yeah, so I just thought I would sit down and just kind of, I don't know, just have a chill, a different change of pace, different look. Because I've been, like I said, I just like, I don't want to sit down. I've been moving and sitting, and I was like, I don't want to sit down on the computer. Um, what else? What else? What else? Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman. News came out today of what was the reason for his death. Him and his wife sadly passed away, I guess, a few weeks ago now, really. In case you don't know, there was a press conference that the Santa Fe, New Mexico Police Department, I think they held the press conference. Anyway, long story short, they did the autopsies and they found out, I forget now what his wife passed from, but there was some disease that she had so she was the one that passed away first. And because Gene Hackman, it was revealed that he had obviously, heart disease and in the late stages of Alzheimer's. And so, I mean, they believe that she passed first, and that because of how old he was and how cognitively sort of, not there he was because of his disease, he just it's so sad. I mean, he would have been so confused. He wouldn't know what to do with his wife. He wouldn't know, because had he died first, she would have picked up the phone. She would have called the police. She would have called a friend. She would have, called 911. Oh my God, you're my husband. That makes sense. Now it makes sense that because she was the one that passed first, I mean, he basically just, I don't know. I mean, a few days went by. He didn't eat. There was no food in his stomach or anything like that. And a really, really sad case. Look it up. It was released today. They did the press conference today. Really, really, really sad. The dog that was in the crate, it makes sense. The dog was in there because of some sort of surgery that he had or something like that. And then, of course, when she passed, the dog just remained in there. The dog starved, essentially, and just basically, I'm assuming, and they're doing the autopsy. The veterinarian's doing the autopsy on the dog now, so we'll know more once that's done. But really, really sad. I mean, yeah, I mean, of course, there's still people out there like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense, man. Doesn't make any sense. I saw one guy on Facebook that was like, you know what? That doesn't make any sense, bro. That makes no sense. You know what? I think Randy Quaid was right. I think Randy Quaid was right. And I'm like, Randy Quaid? I'm like, Randy Quaid is like, fuck God. People just can't, like, nothing. There's always got to be a conspiracy. There's always a conspiracy, man. There's a conspiracy. And I'm not going to sit here and say that conspiracies don't exist, but not everything is a conspiracy. You know what I mean? No, he's 95. He had Alzheimer's, late stages. She died, unfortunately, from this disease that was passed on in the area from like rodents or something. It's not common, but it's not unprecedented. Anyway, she passed away. He was a fish out of water. He didn't know what to do. It makes sense. It makes sense. There's no conspiracy. There's not, wild, crazy New Mexican drug cartels getting in with Gene Hackman. This isn't a Gene Hackman French Connection movie here. This is just a 95-year-old guy who it's a sad. The reality is it's a sad set of circumstances, and so that's unfortunate. Deborah Hill. 20 years ago today, Deborah Hill passed away. 20 years ago today, Deborah Hill passed away. Unfortunate, too bad. Deborah Hill, she's often lost in the kerfuffle of everything with the Halloween fandom. We often forget about her and how important she was to the inception of everything. I remember I asked Sean Clark a couple years ago. I asked him, had Deborah Hill survived, had she lived, because she could still be around today if she didn't die of cancer. Had she lived, does he think that she would have been, she would have gone to some of these conventions? And Sean says, yeah, I think so. Because Sean met her, I believe, years and years ago. And he seems to think so. He seems to think so, that she would have done that, and that would have been really cool. That would have been really cool. And so yeah, it's 20 years ago, and again, because she died before. I mean, really, for all intents and purposes, before social media. Now, I know technically no, because Facebook came out in 2004 and YouTube was 05. Like, I know it was, but really, she died before social media, really, right? And so, and conventions were not then what they are now, right? I mean, they were still really sort of just like comic book, and now it's everything. So it would have been interesting had she survived, um, or maybe not. Maybe she would have been a disgruntled old lady, like how John Carpenter is a disgruntled old man, and it wouldn't want to have had anything to do with it. I have no idea, but anyway, she's a huge part of the reason Halloween exists, and we should not forget that. Deborah Hill is a big part of it, and she died 20 years ago today. I remember when she died. I remember seeing the news, online and going, "Oh my God, Deborah Hill." Um, I remember that. I was 26, so or turning 26, because if she died in March of 2005, I would have been 25 still. But I was turning 26. But yeah, so too bad, too bad. Deborah Hill, rest in peace, Deborah Hill. Also, too, like I mentioned on my Facebook page and in the community section, and I uploaded a short video, I have 3 spots left. I'm doing that introductory voiceover workshop. Some of you have inquired about it again. There's 3 spots left. I'm doing it. I'm waiting to see if I get enough people. And if I can get 3 more people, then I will run it. It'll be 150 USD. You can pay me through PayPal. It's 1 afternoon, 1 day, a complete introductory into the world of professional voiceover and voice acting. So if you've always wanted to know about voiceover and voice acting, if you're an aspiring voice actor, this will be highly beneficial for you. We're going to talk about everything and anything under the sun. We're going to demystify the world of voiceover for you. We're going to talk about agents and demos. We're going to talk about unions and managers and publicists, and what is the difference between a manager and an agent? Do you need a manager and an agent? Do you need a manager, an agent, and a publicist? Do you need all 3? Do you just need 1? Do you not need any? We're going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about home studios. We're going to talk about the different voiceover categories, radio and television commercials, network promos, movie and game trailers, animation, narration, AI. We're going to talk about AI. So if you want to get in on it, there's 3 spots left. Email me at Dave McRae Official. So DAVEMCRAE Official, Dave McRae Official at gmail.com. And let me know that you're interested. And do that soon because there's been a good response so far. So there's 3 spots left. I might be able to push a fourth spot, maybe, but because we're doing it over Zoom, you don't want to have too many people, right? You don't want to have like 30 people, you know what I mean? Because then it's like, it's you don't know who you're talking to, you know what I mean? I like it to be a little more intimate. So, I like to keep it under 10 if I can. So, it would be great though if we could fill it up. And it's a lot of fun because you guys get to meet each other. There's familiar faces, and I get to meet you. And then we just, you grab some snacks and pencil and paper, whatever, and you take, the notes that you need. I will provide you with some material as well. And yeah, so it'll be a lot of fun. I ran it a couple years ago, and it was really cool. It was a great success, and people had a lot of fun. And I haven't ran it since because I've just been too busy voice acting myself and working on movies and all that kind of jazz. But I had a couple people reach out to me within the last month or so inquiring about it, and I thought, you know what, I'll put the feelers out there and see if anybody's interested again. So I did upload a short last night because I never upload shorts. And yeah, and so far a number of you have responded, which is amazing. So yeah, email me Dave McRae Official, Dave McRae Official at gmail.com if you want to get in on the voiceover 101. You're not going to be ready for a demo after the class. My goal is to set you up with the tools that you need if you're serious about pursuing a career in professional voice acting, to set you up with the tools that you need to take it to the next level. And or sometimes people are not interested in pursuing it necessarily, but they just want to know more about the business, more about show business, more about voiceover and voice acting. And I've had people, because I used to teach an introductory voiceover class for about 10 years. I taught it for about 3 or 4 times a year down at Lift here in Toronto. Lift is the liaison of independent filmmakers of Toronto, and I used to teach an introductory class, and I had all kinds of people walk through. Sometimes people just want to know about it, right? They're filmmakers, but they want to know about this side of the business. You know what I mean? And that's kind of cool too. So it doesn't matter if you're curious and you want to know about it and sort of arm yourself with more knowledge about show business. This could be beneficial. So again, 150 USD. It'll be an afternoon, and probably on a Sunday, maybe, I'm thinking, like something where, but as soon as I get all the spots filled, that's when I'll reach out to everybody and say, hey, okay, what about this date? What about that date? You can pay me through PayPal, which is the easiest way to do it. So Dave McRae Official at gmail.com. Let me know if you're interested. Email me now. I have 3 spots left. I might be able to push 4, maybe. But like I said, I don't want to have like 100 people on the screen. I just want to keep it a little more intimate and manageable. So yeah, so there's that, which I think is really cool. And then what else is going on? Still haven't seen Hard Eyes, still haven't seen Companion, still haven't seen The Monkey. I've just been really busy focusing on getting these perks out. I was over at Bruce's last night, and so I gathered up all the t-shirts, most of the t-shirts, and the hoodies, because we're sort of, he's taking half, I'm taking half, but I will be able to mail these out next week. Which is great. Like I said, if you're just joining us, if you ordered an It's Me Billy Chapter 2 hoodie, the t-shirts look the same way, by the way. But here's what the hoodies look like. They're gorgeous. Look at this. Oh, yeah, baby. Yeah. Gorgeous. And nice and warm. Great material. The hood is, I'm a hoodie guy, as you guys know. I have like a closet full of hoodies, and hoods are important to me. If the hood doesn't come like over, you know what I mean? It doesn't come over, I'm like, it's kind of lame. These are nice hoods. These are really, really nice hoods. Nice and deep. So you can see that right there. So they come like right over, you know what I mean? Great for cozying by a fire or something like that, or, whatever, on a couch when you're watching a movie on a rainy Sunday afternoon or something. But look at that. Just gorgeous. They turned out really well. Really happy with how they turned out. So if you ordered one, they're coming next week, baby. They're coming next week. Well, I don't know if they'll get to you next week, but I'm mailing them next week. So yeah, what else is going on? As you guys know, I finished my script for Port Robinson Road. There's a bit of a name change as well. It still has the name Port Robinson Road in it, but I'll reveal the full name soon online. The script is done for the first time in 20 years. It was a real sort of cool moment for me. And this is a feature length script. It's about 100 pages, I guess, 97, 98 pages, something like that. I got to go back and check. I'm still tweaking. So it is done. Like it is done, but I've gone through and tweaked it, polished it, as you do. You'll go through and you'll say, you'll think to yourself, actually, you know what? Maybe I'll have that character say that instead because that's more with their character. Or, you know what? I actually don't need that line. Or, you know what? This can actually be, truncated and I don't, those little minor, it's minor stuff in the big picture, but it's done. And I've also completed a lookbook as well, which is great. A lookbook, for those of you that don't know, is sort of just you'll have like a synopsis, a concept poster, a log line. You'll have character breakdowns. You'll have a mood board. You'll have sort of themes. It just kind of is something you can pitch at a moment's notice to show either a director of photography or producer, somebody who might be interested in investing, sort of kind of just like a 101 of what the film is about, what the vision is for the director, which obviously is me, and sort of what I'm thinking, what my overall vision is for the project. So the lookbook is done. There's a couple other things I kind of want to add to it, but it's essentially done. The next step would be to keep the lookbook, but at some point, eventually, and I may or may not get to this point depending on what happens with the project, but eventually turn the lookbook into also a pitch deck. And a pitch deck is the same thing as a lookbook, but it's much more advanced. So in a pitch deck, you'll have like budget breakdown and distribution breakdown, and you may even have like an actor attached to it at that point. And it's much more of a. I mean, it's a pitch deck. It's everything, right? Whereas a lookbook is not quite as advanced as a pitch deck. But I wanted to get the lookbook done anyway because I wanted to have something in my pocket that is at a ready if I needed it to be. So I'm very happy with that where it's at. I have a very very strong vision for this film. I mean, I've been thinking about it and working on it for 25 years. I have a very very clear vision of what this film is, and it's a horror film, but it's not just a horror film, as I've often said. I can't talk too much about it because I don't want to give too much away. But it's not a slasher movie. It's not a run of the mill sort of pedestrian horror film. It is a horror film, but it's and I know this word is not looked upon fondly in the world of movies and horror today, but it is an elevated piece. It has a very strong philosophical component to the story and the narrative. It's more than just a abandoned farmhouse haunted kind of thing. There's a lot more to it. And that's on purpose and that's deliberate. So it is elevated. It is a little more cerebral, but that's my jam. And but it is scary too. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's dripping with Dave McRae mood and atmosphere and tension and all that kind of stuff. But it's not just that. You know what I mean? There's more to it. There's more meat. There's more meat on the bone. Uh, I'm going to send the script to Bruce to have him read it over. I might send it to a few other people just to kind of get their thoughts. But but I have a very strong vision for it, and I always have. So I've been working on that. That's been a big part of what I've been working on over the last couple of months or so is to really kind of get that into a position where I have something that I can show somebody, that I can talk to a producer, an investor, a studio, a production company, whatever it is. I'm ready to talk to them about it. I can show something about it, because one of the things, especially if you're an indie filmmaker, but if you're a filmmaker in general, one of the things which is very important is, obviously, we have the two Billy films, which is great, but you always have to have, this is great. What else you got? And if you don't have a what else you got, you never want to be in a position where you're like, uh, I don't know. You know what I mean? You never want to be in that position, right? So it was very important to me to have this at a point where I can be like, have I got something for you? You know what I mean? And that's exciting. And it was really exciting working on it. And like I said, I'll just say this: it took me 20 years to complete it, because I realized that, and I mentioned this in a social media post, and I will get to your questions. Don't worry. Um, I mentioned this in a social media post. I realized that it took me. Um, I always knew what I wanted it to be, but I realized that it took me having to live. I mean, I'll be 46 in May, right? So when you're approaching your 50s, when you're middle aged and you're approaching your 50s, you've lived a lot of life. You've loved, you've lost, you've had friends, you've had breakups, you've had friends come and go, you've had I've lost my parents, you've had friends who've lost their parents. There's a lot more life that you've lived, right? And there's a lot more, you're far more mature and more wiser. And when I sat down to, and I always knew of the philosophical component that I wanted to this picture, but I don't think I was wise enough and mature enough yet to be able to really put my full voice and feeling into the script, because I hadn't lived it. And so now that I've lived those things and these things and certain things, it really, one of the things that I asked myself when I sat down to write it, I said, or not write it, but to go back to it, to complete it a couple of months ago, I said, well, what the hell is this really about? Like, what is this about? Right? And that's when I was like, this is what it's about. This is the story. And then it just flowed, and it made sense. And it's a much smaller film as well. When I say smaller, earlier drafts had, like, I mean, just so many locations and so many characters and so much superfluous sort of stuff that I didn't really need. Maybe a more experienced screenwriter could have turned all that into something. But for me, I just was like, nah, it's I don't need this. I need it. It's now it's a smaller film. It's more focused. I got rid of all these characters that I didn't need, these superfluous locations I didn't need. Like, what is the story, right? What is the story? This is the story. Well, this is the focus, and it just moves. It moves now, and it's scary, and it's moving, and it's philosophical, and in my mind. Of course, I'm biased because I wrote it. But it is, though. It is. There's a lot of themes in there, and I'm very proud of finally being able to finish it. So anyway, not to keep going off on that, but that's a big thing that I've been working on over the last couple of months. I will share something with you guys. I am planning on sharing a little something with you online in the next, few days or so. But yeah, but it's a film that I am really uh seriously turning my attention towards. I don't know how it's going to come to be. It may or may not be the next film that I do. I can't say for sure it's the next one I'm going to do, but my attention is seriously on it until something else, perhaps changes that. Like, maybe there'll be an opportunity for me to do something else before that. I don't know. But at the moment, until that happens, this is where my focus is. And I'm very excited about it. Very, very excited about it. And so, uh, yeah, I think you guys will. There was somebody that I think there was some. I had mentioned that I had finished writing it a couple of weeks ago, a month or so ago, and somebody had made a tweet and said, "Yeah, are there boobs in it?" I didn't respond to them, but I thought, no. No, it's not that kind of horror movie. So there's no boobs, there's no blood, guts, and gore. It's not that kind of horror movie. It's no. So if that's your jam, this may not be for you. But I think I'm hoping anyway, if I can make it the way that I envision it, that I've written it, that people will. It's scary. It's moving. It's got a lot of moving parts to it. So really excited about it. And then what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, if you're in Canada, Lana Longbeard, the most recent cartoon that I'm on, is currently on CBC Gem. You don't. It's free. CBC Gem is free, so you can, if you go to the streaming app CBC Gem. Lana Longbeard is currently airing there. I think the first 22 episodes are on there right now. I am so proud of this cartoon, guys. It is the energy, the pacing, the writing. It's so great. If you have like kids between the ages of like, I don't know, 0 and like 10, they're going to love it. It's also airing on Family Channel here in Canada as well. I believe UK distribution or Europe distribution, Warner Brothers Discovery has it, and I believe it's coming in second quarter. Still no word yet on where it's going to air in the States yet, but they're telling me that there's interest from several. I've heard rumors of Cartoon Network, but I don't know if that's for certain, so don't quote me on that. But I'm really proud of the show. It's a great show. There's a video game as well that's currently in development, which is really cool. Not a console game. I think it's like a PC game or something like that. A Lana Longbeard game, which I've seen a demo of, which is so cool. Kind of looks like a little bit of like Zelda back in the day, where you're playing as Lana and you have to, I don't know, accomplish all these quests and gather all these things and all that kind of stuff. And the character that I play is a character that you can unlock as well, which is really cool. So that's something that I think is coming soon. And yeah, as soon as I know where it's airing in the US when it does, then I will let you know. Or if you have a VPN, you can just VPN and you could probably get access to CBC Gem and then you could watch it there. But it will be coming to the States at some point. Great cartoon though. Really, really proud of it. Hopefully it's so successful we get picked up for a season 2. So my fingers are crossed for that. And then Deer Squad, I completed season 4 of Deer Squad. That'll be coming soon. I think the first 2 or 3 seasons is on Paramount Plus and Prime now. I'm not a part of those because I wasn't a part of the show until season 4, but they're in post-production on season 4 now. I've completed all my stuff for season 4 of Deer Squad, so that's coming soon. And then yeah, so that's me in a nutshell of how things have been going recently. It's been busy, 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 busy. Let's see what all of you are saying now. Let me go back here and get some of these. I know some super chats came in. Josh McKenna, $9.99. With all the weird Scream 7 news, could you imagine if they announced Mikey Madison was returning to the Scream after her Oscar win? How much would they have to pay her? Does an Oscar mean more pay? Yes. Oh yeah. If you win an Oscar, you can demand more for sure. For sure you can. I don't know how much they would pay her. I have no idea. I'm not sure. Depends on the size of her role and all that kind of stuff. I don't really know. But yeah, Honora won big. Fats Ford's 289, a member for 18 months. Thank buddy. What's up, Dave? I watched Narrow Margin for the first time. Yes, my favorite Hackman movie. The other night and loved it. Thanks again for another great movie recommendation. You're welcome. Wasn't it awesome? It was great. It is underrated, in my opinion. I think it's a great Gene Hackman film. Salwane's Knight says, Dave, any thoughts on the set picks revealed so far for Masters of the Universe? Nah, not really. It doesn't excite me, but it doesn't not excite me. I'm just kind of indifferent to it, really, to be honest with you. Amadusius, let's raise a glass to Deborah Hill. Cheers, cheers to Deborah Hill. I could not agree more. Could not agree more. VO Tripper sends in $10 and says, by the way, today is the 50th anniversary of Dario Argento's Giallo masterpiece, Deep Red. I didn't know that. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Taking a look at it whenever possible. I don't think I have. I know the movie you're talking about, though. I didn't know it was the 50th anniversary this year. Very cool. Thank you, VO Tripper. I appreciate that. Oh, is my. Oh, okay. Let me see here. I just want to make sure I don't miss these. I don't know how much time I have to get the because I can't go over to my other like YouTube studio to look at the with the whole thing. So I'm doing this on my phone. So that's why I want to make sure I definitely don't miss these. Lee the Machine Bowers, my man Lee, says, Dave, my man, how are you? I'm okay. My truck is back. Amazing. Excuse me, back in the shop. Oh no, that's not good. I got a new motor, but now I need a new radiator. Hope you're having a good Friday. Oh, that sucks, man. That sucks. Well, hey, at least you know you're getting it fixed. You're getting it fixed. My Friday is okay. It's all right. Movie chat and more part 2. Hey, buddy, what's going on? Richard says, hey, Dave, out of the two, which is your favorite movie based on a King story? It or The Langoliers? Well, I haven't seen The Langoliers since I was a kid. So I don't know. I would have to pick It at the moment. I remember liking the Langoliers. I like the idea of flying on an airplane, arriving. I think it was Boston they arrived in, and then there was nobody there. Nobody like I love that kind of premise. But I haven't seen the movie in years. Let me see here. Amadusius, $5 says people need to get over the term elevated horror. Horror can be a respectable highbrow art form too. I could not agree more. Yeah, I mean I mean it just means it's psychological. I mean really, if you want to know what I mean really, yes. Port Robinson Road, and that's not the full title, but there's a couple other words in there, but I will reveal it online soon. Again, I don't want to reveal too much, so anything I do reveal online will be enough to make you go, oh, that's kind of cool, that's interesting, but I'm not going to like spill the movie out online for obvious reasons. But yeah, I mean, it's a psychological horror. It's a psychological horror drama, really, is what it is. Because there's a very strong philosophical component to the story and to the film. And these characters are not archetypal, these characters, like, they're college-aged kids, but they're mature. They ask, important questions. It's a little more elevated. It's not quite Blumhouse, maybe more A24. Right? You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. It's always, I've always intended it to be that way before A24 ever existed, before Blumhouse ever existed, but before there was ever a Blumhouse or an A24. Remember, this is inspired by true events from my second year of college over 25 years ago. So I've always wanted it to be this kind of a film. And because that's what it was like for us back in the day at that time. So obviously it is inspired by true events. I have taken creative liberties. You have to do that in order to be able to tell a good story. Otherwise just make a documentary. So it is inspired by true events. There is a lot of truth, but there's a lot of creative liberties in order to be able to tell a compelling, interesting, scary story. But I'm very proud of it. It's the first feature I've ever written. And I've written a lot of shorts over the years, but it's the first feature I ever have written. So I'm very proud of it. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, it is. It's a psychological horror drama, I guess, is what you would call it. In a lot of ways, there's a lot of a lot of symbolism, a lot of nuance, a lot of, subtext, all that kind of stuff. But it's not there for the sake of it. I mean, it's part of the story. It's not like I just threw that in there because I'm trying to be cheeky, no, or avant-garde. Not at all. It's, again, I've been working on this a long time. So it's just continued to evolve, and it's gotten more mature as I've gotten more mature and grown over the years. And I mean, listen, I hope to make lots of movies in my life. But this is the one that is like my baby. Do you know what I mean? Every filmmaker has that one. That one was like, oh, that's if I just make that's, I have to. And sometimes it's a personal film, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just, oh, I've always wanted to make, a Bond movie, or something like that. Or maybe The Fablemans for Spielberg was that one that maybe if you had asked him, he's like, what, I've made so many movies, but like I've always wanted to make one about my family, but I never got around to it. Actually, you know what? I think, funny enough, I think there was an interview with him where he said, I think he did say that, something to the effect of he always wanted to make a movie about his family, and it's inspired by too. There's a few things in there that are that are a bit taken creative liberties on, but I think I heard an interview or read an interview where he said, but I couldn't have made this movie when I was making like Jaws or Close Encounters or any of my movies in the 80s. Hey Veda, what's going on? Veda's here. Veda came down. Because he wasn't mature enough. He wasn't wise enough. He hadn't lived enough life. And I think now that he's older and at the end of his life, he was ready to tell that story about his family. And so it's kind of similar with me, in a sense of it's not about my family, although, well, I don't want to give too much away. But it's a personal piece, right? It's a personal piece, and not everybody, there's lots of, again, I hope to make lots of movies that I'm not emotionally attached to on a personal level, of course, but this is one where I am for obvious reasons, and I'm just uber excited about it. The vision for it is so clear, because I've been thinking about it for half my life. All right, let me see. I'll be 45 in April, Dave. Lost both parents as well. My condolences, Geeked Out Turtle fan. I've been there, man. I've been there. It's tough. Josh McKenna, $9.99. Thank you, Josh. And says, Anora won 5 Oscars. It did. Oh, and I haven't seen Anora yet either. I have to watch Anora. How would you react if you directed a film and your film won all those Oscars? Like in the future, you won for editing, original screenplay, best picture. Oh my God. I mean, it'd be wild. It'd be wild. Absolutely incredible. To win for best directing, best editing, best picture, and best original screenplay, it'd be amazing. It'd be amazing. Obviously Neon thought it was Neon that did Anora, right? I think it was. No, Neon did The Monkey. Who did Anora? Was it Neon that did Anora? Anyway, I can't remember. Was it A24? Anyways, they obviously felt it was getting great buzz. Mikey Madison was getting great buzz. And they obviously, did the right thing and put together or submitted to have their production and their project considered for an Oscar nomination, and which was the right thing to do. And away they went. And they obviously, had the money. It's very expensive, very, very expensive. So I think that's really cool. That's really cool. If I was ever in a position where, and of course there's rules around it, right? Like your movie has to play for a certain period of time in New York, LA, or San Francisco, or something like that. Or, anyways, there's certain rules. But yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great. I haven't seen the movie yet, but by all accounts, she did a great job, and I just think it's really cool because I can relate because it's a purely independent film. Anora is an independent film. And all of his movies that he has written and directed were independently financed, independent films. And it's great to see independent film doing so well at the Oscars, and the fact that an independent film, and again, independent films, just simply mean that they are outside of the major studio system, right? And so they are independently produced, independently funded. And it's great to see that. It's just inspiring, thinking about the Billy films that we did. Not that we can do anything with those, obviously, because they're fan films, but they're independent films. And then thinking about, Port Robinson Road, and it, it's not that I'm not against it potentially, not being an independent film if some major studio wanted to join forces or something, but my only worry with that is because I have such a clear vision, there's very little I would want to copper. I think we need more blood. It's like, no, that's not that kind of movie. Oh, somebody needs to fall down the stairs. Where are the demons? Where are the floorboards, moving and the walls bleeding and the things exploding? It's like, It's not that kind of movie. We need more demons and blood. There's no demons. There's no demons in the, put a demon in the movie. I don't want to put a demon in the movie. I kind of worry about that, you know. Whereas if I'm not emotionally attached, then you're more likely to go, well, I don't really want to do that, but okay, maybe we could find some sort of compromise, you know. But on such a personal thing, I sometimes feel that maybe the best route for it is purely, independent. But who knows? I don't know where this is going to go, who I'm going to meet. I mean, it's still very, very early stages of what would be very early preliminary development. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not, I have a script and a lookbook. And a passion, and that's where we are right now, and that's a good place to be. It's a good place to be, but there's no budget breakdown. There's no locations yet. There's no, nothing of that yet. Nothing of that yet. That's coming though. That's coming. Though there are character breakdowns. I have done character breakdowns and all that kind of stuff too. But yeah. So yeah, but no, I mean that would be amazing. I mean to be there and to win 4 Oscars in one night, which is the most in history by one person. I mean, just imagine what that would feel like. Oh my God. Incredible. 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 Evil Alex says, do you have any poster ideas at this stage even? I've already designed a few conceptual posters, which I'm thinking about possibly releasing one when not like making a post and sharing it when I share some information about it. Again, it's very preliminary. It's nothing that but it's I may or may not. I'm not 100% sure, but it would be just a concept. Like it's good. Like I like the concept poster or posters. I have a few of them. I like them, but they're conceptual. They're concepts at the moment. Like I wouldn't say that this is the one that is definitely going to be advertised everywhere. I have no idea. I have no idea when, where, how. You know what I mean? But this is a concept. This is like, oh, this is interesting. And I think people actually, there's one in particular that I think people would be surprised by if I released it. They'd be like, oh, that's not what I expect. It's like, yeah, exactly. But anyway, but nothing official in terms of like, this is the official post. No, not at all. Not yet. Just concepts. I mean, these concepts could absolutely be an official poster. Like they look like they could be, but that's not the way that I would present them. Do you know what I mean? Like this isn't official because I haven't even shot the movie yet. I'm not even there yet. You know what I mean? These are just concepts to help market the idea, essentially. But they could be. I mean, if they're good enough to be, I would say that. Let me just see. All right, I just want to get these. Lee the Machine Bowers again. Thanks, buddy. $4.99. Jaws turns 50 on June 20th. Any idea for a watch along? I might do a watch along. I don't know if I'll do a watch along. I might, or maybe I will. I don't know. Maybe I'll try and convince the Slaughtered Lamb guys. Maybe we'll all do a watch along together or something. I don't know. But I might do like a video on it or something like that. But yeah, 50 years this year. I heard it's coming back to theaters as well, which is pretty cool. Trial and Error, $5. Hi, Dave. I just want to ask, what are the dimension size for the IMDb posters? They're 24 by 36. So they're official one-sheet sizes. I have a teaser. Oh, you're not going to be able to really see this, but you'll get an idea. So here's a teaser poster. Remember from the campaign, we had official posters, we had a teaser poster. So this is the teaser poster. I don't know if you can see this, but you see that? No, you can't really see that. No, you can't really see that. But you can see how big it is, right? It's 24 by 36, official one-sheet size. So if you have a poster and you're looking to frame it, 24 by 36. Yeah, there we go. Ba, 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 ba. Chester Franklin Jr. says, Dave, do you have a favorite Jenna Ortega performance? She is all right actress, not a bad actress. No, I think she's great, actually. A favorite? No, I don't think so. I don't think I've seen it. I mean, I like her in Wednesday. I have to, even though I'm not necessarily the target demographic, I watched the first season of Wednesday, and I really liked it. It was kind of like Harry Potter meets Stranger Things. I actually liked it a lot. And she's very good in it. She's very good at playing those kinds of roles, sarcastic, a little emo. But she's good. Yeah, I mean, and I knew she was going to be big. Like when Tony and I did that watch along of Scream 5 in 2022, I had no idea I'd never heard of her. Never heard of her in my life. And Scream 5 was the first thing I ever saw her in. And I said live on the air, I said, I don't know who this girl is, but she's going to be a star. And that was before, X. It was before Wednesday. It was before Beetlejuice. It was before, she hadn't really done anything else. And I felt it. She was, yeah. And she did. She became huge. So, um, Flick Symmetry says, if there's a police detective component to your script, feel free to bounce things off me. I definitely will if I feel so. There isn't at the moment. There isn't. But you never know. Maybe I'll have a studio will want to join force and be like, you know what? You need a police guy. You need a disgruntled, George C. Scott, Exorcist 3 police guy. And I'd be like, why? Because we need to feel like we're making money or no, what am I trying to say? We need to feel that because I'm getting paid to do my job and I need to feel like I'm doing my job or whatever. It's so fun. The entertainment industry is funny. I can't tell you how many times I have gone to voiceover sessions and like animation sessions, it makes sense because it's animation. But I can't tell you how many times I think I've told this story before, but this is about, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so ago. But this is the most egregious or the most sort of, crazy example of it. There's been many other times. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. But I remember I went and I was hired to do a tag for Tic Tac. And it was a bunch of like 15-second spots. And at the end of the spot, you hear, the voice. I forget what the script was, but let's say it was something like, it's cool, it's awesome, Tic Tac, something like that, right? It's cool, it's awesome, have a Tic Tac, like something like that. Really simple, one or two sentences. And I go down, and I think we were doing this at Wanted Post Production in Toronto, which is a big studio in Toronto, that big post production house in Toronto. They've been around for years. They're great. And I think it was there. Anyway, maybe not. But I remember being there, and I remember I walked in, and I'm in the booth, and behind the glass, you have the audio engineer, which makes sense. You have the director, which makes sense. And that's usually it. It's usually it. Usually people from the ad agencies or the studios or the production companies or whatever, especially if it's something like, they're not usually there. Now you may have to do it and then you go and you sit out in the lobby and you wait for approval. So what they will do then is they will send it, they will mix it, master it in real time, send it off, and they will get approval from, the ad agency or whatever. And sometimes you got to wait around. There were I kid you not, about 9 people behind the glass. There was all for this 2-sentence bumper. It was just like, it was just, and I would be like, say something like, stay cool, stay fresh, have a Tic Tac, whatever it was, right? They would tell me, this is what we need. I did that. And then of course I can't hear them because I'm in the booth. So they would turn the talkback mic off, and and then I would see them, all of them going, they're all like leaning in going, and I'm like, why are you all here? You want to know what it is? You want to know what it is? Only 1 or 2 of them really need to be there. But then you have all these other people that work for the ad agency. They're like, oh, dude, you're doing the voiceover session today? Can I come? Can I come? Can I come? Can I come? Because it's an excuse to get out of the office. It's an excuse to get out of the office, go somewhere different, sit in a voiceover studio, right? In a professional post-production facility. And they didn't need to be there. They didn't need to be there. Anyway, it's just really funny. I don't know how I got on that. What the hell was I talking about? Um, Jenna Ortega, the police station. I don't know. I don't know how I got on that. Anyway, yeah, it's funny. Um, have I got all the super chats? I think I did. Oh wait, no, here's one. VO Tripper, $5 says, say, do you have any favorite international horror films that you'd place in the same league as Halloween or Black Christmas? I'd have to take a look and think. There's definitely some international horror films that I've watched that I thought have been very good. But nothing's coming to me off the top of my head. Oh, there's definitely been some. There's definitely been some. I have to think on that. Okay, I think I made it down to the bottom. I think I have anyway. Have I? I think so. I think I made it down to the bottom, ladies and gentlemen. Sydney Sweeney needs to be in a horror film. She'd be great. She's been in a horror film. She was in Immaculate, which was immaculate. No, she was in, yeah, she was great. But again, it depends on what you define as a horror film, right? That's a horror film for sure, but it's not a slasher movie. I liked Immaculate a lot, and I do think Sydney Sweeney is very good. Obviously, she has a reputation because of her boobs, and okay, I get it, totally. But I actually think she's a good actress, and I think she was great in Immaculate. And there were no boobage. There was no boobage. She was great, and she was, yeah, really good in that movie. I think she's way better than she gets credit for, because obviously, she's how many nude scenes has she's done now? I mean, and all the power to her. She's young and she's got it. And hey, knock yourself out. But she's actually a pretty good actress, and Immaculate was evidence of that. I thought she was very good in that. I quite enjoyed that movie. More so than I think most. I think Darren. I think Darren from the Slaughter Lamb. I think he liked it too. I think we both really liked that movie. I don't know, but I think I don't know. Are we in the minority on that? I'm not sure. I think for some reason I have this feeling like it wasn't liked a lot. I don't know. Maybe it was. I don't know. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought it was good. Dave, did you hear about Christina Ricci getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? And what's your top 3 favorite films of hers? I did not hear about that. Do I think Christina Ricci? Listen, I know this is not the case when it comes to the Walk of Fame. It's just marketing. It's a business. It's marketing. There's so many people that have stars in the Walk of Fame that I don't feel deserve to have stars in the Walk of Fame. And I know that's not what it's really all about. But, I would like to think that it's virtuous, you know what I mean? And that it truly is a Hall of Fame. Not everybody has a Hall of Fame career. You can be a great player in sports and not end up in the Hall of Fame. There are amazing, great, really good hockey players and football players and baseball players and, basketball, players that never end up in the Hall of Fame because they don't have Hall of Fame careers, right? And I know that's not what it's all about. It's marketing, and I get all that. But when you see stars like Clark Gable and, Robert Redford and, and you see all these like true icons of cinema, and then you see Christina Ricci and you're like, and it's nothing against Christina Ricci. I have nothing against Christina Ricci. Nothing at all. It's not personal. She's a fine actress. There's nothing wrong with her. But is she a Hall of Fame actress? Do you know, think about sports, right? Is she Hall of Fame material? I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think so. She was a good player. She had some good seasons. Scored some goals. Oh, yeah. I remember that player. She was good. But is she one of the greatest of all time? She's one of the greatest of all time? No, not even close. And I know that's not how the Walk of Fame and the handprints and all that. I know that it's that. If it ever was like that, it's certainly not like that anymore. And I get it. I totally understand it. But part of me, the romance in me the romanticism of Hollywood and the real stars and the icons. There's still a part of me that just wants it to be used for that, you know? And so I'm just I'm just like, whatever. You know what I mean? It's like who also recently got a star in the Walk of Fame, and I was like, what? Um, Ralph Macchio. The fuck is Ralph Macchio getting a star on the Walk of Fame for? But Dave, he's iconic. But I don't. I I don't. He's not. He's not. He was without Cobra Kai, right? And it's like if you're going to give it to him, then why aren't you giving it to William Zabka? I mean, it's arguably Cobra Kai is arguably his show. It's arguably his story. I'm like, it's not. He's not. Don't give what Ralph Macchio, good actor for sure. Oh, I remember Ralph Macchio. Yeah, the Karate Kid. Yeah. He's been in some things. But if it wasn't for the Karate Kid and Cobra Kai, he doesn't have a Hall of Fame career. Does he have a Hall of Fame career? One of the greatest of all time? No. 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 And this is nothing against Ralph Macchio. That would be like, putting me into the voiceover Hall of Fame. There isn't one, by the way. But it's like, do I have a storied voiceover? Am I Mel Blanc? No. No. Am I good? Yeah, I'm good. I've been able to do this for a living for 25 years. Yeah, I've had great success. Yes, of course. Of course. I'm working at the highest, levels of voiceover. Yes, of course. Am I a Hall of Famer? One of the greatest of all time ever to ever do it in history? Right up there with Mel Blanc and these. No! I mean, maybe one day, you never know. I'm still young, right? I'm 45, but it's like, what? What are we, what? What are you what is going on here, right? Like, what are you talking about? No, no, I just think it's just funny to see so many people, get stars that just don't deserve stars. It should be reserved for the Spielbergs and the Fords and the Pacinos, who doesn't have a star, by the way. He doesn't have a star because he refuses to pay for one, because you have to pay for it. You pay for it. It's like $30,000 or $40,000. And you also have to pay for the upkeep of it as well. So there's nothing virtuous about it. It's just a business. And but it should be reserved for, real titans, icons. You can be a great player. You can have a great career and never be a Hall of Famer. And that doesn't mean you weren't great and you weren't good, and you weren't really good, like really great, memorable. It doesn't mean that, but it just might mean that you're not one of the greatest of all time statistically, right? Like stats should play an important part. And I just don't see Ralph Macchio as one of the greatest Hollywood actors in the history of motion pictures. I'm sorry, but that's just me. But that's not what it is anymore, right? So that's not what it is anymore. It's just, it is what it is, right? It's just, hey, you've been hot for a few years. You're known. You had this hit show. You want a star? You want a star? Okay, I'll get one. Anyway. I'll shut up now. I'll shut up. TSL Movie Podcast. Yay, Darren says, the problem is we don't have many Titans icons anymore. That is true. That is true too. And it's the kind of thing too where, like I say it, I say it. Speaking of Mel Blanc, I say it. Come here, boy. Foghorn Leghorn. But I think I said this on a show not too long ago. I said that like Harrison Ford is one of the last great movie stars, right? And I'm talking about a specific type of movie star. Obviously, Leonardo DiCaprio is what a movie star is has changed. The definition of what a movie star is has changed. And that's what I mean by he's one of the last great sort of from a certain era. And but you're right. Like what who do you give it to now? Like, I mean, you can fart in a jar and become really famous on TikTok. Are we going to give it to that person? You know what I mean? Like it's like the ease of access to celebrities and the demystifying of celebrities and all that kind of stuff is so there isn't a romanticism anymore. There isn't a mystique anymore. It doesn't have the same pull and the same cachet, and so I agree. Like it's one of those things where we're kind of running out of true titans. But I'll never forget because I was in Los Angeles. Because for those of you that don't know, before I fell into I didn't fall into voiceover. I chose. But before I started doing voiceover professionally, I was doing on camera. I started out as an on camera actor. Now, I could have. I don't know how far I would have gone, but I think I would have gone pretty far. I think so. I think so. And I could still do it if I wanted to. I just have to get updated headshots and get an on-camera agent, which wouldn't be hard to do. Because obviously I know a lot of people who I have a lot of connections and I'd be able to get it in. So I could, and I've thought about it. I admit I have thought about pursuing on camera again recently. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I started out doing on camera, and I was in a couple commercials, and I think I've told this story before, but a girl that I went to high school with named Melanie Scrofano. Anyway, she's done very well for herself. She's an actress. She was in Ready or Not. She was in. She was the lead in that Winona Earp television series that was on Sci-Fi, I think. Yeah, she was a really good friend in high school, and sorry, I had like three thoughts in my head there, and really really nice. And we were coming up together at the same time. And I don't think we had the same agent, but I remember seeing her at so many auditions because we would all be auditioning for the same things, butter commercials, McDonald's commercials. Like we were all going to the same shit. And so I started out as an on-camera actor. Anyway, so I went to a big acting convention in Los Angeles in 2003, and it was January 2003. And I remember I either just left LA or just after I got there. It was either Britney Spears or I think it was Britney Spears had just gotten her star on the Walk of Fame or something like that. And I know she was big at that time. She was big at that time. She absolutely was. But she got her star before Steven Spielberg and Harrison Ford got theirs. Like, make that make sense. Because in 2003, Harrison Ford and Spielberg were legends. Like, their careers had been solidified. You know what I mean? Britney Spears had a couple albums. She was hot. She was like the hot thing at that moment. But, like, what are you giving her a star for? Let's see how it plays out. Let's see how the career goes. Because I don't know. Would you give it to her now? You probably would. You probably would because of the cultural impact she had. There are certain legends that are legends that don't live very long, right? Look at Kurt Cobain. Look at Janis Joplin. Look at what's his face? Oh fuck why am I blanking on his name? Anyway, the lead singer of the Doors. I'm blanking on his name for some reason. But you look at, they died very young, but the impact and the cultural impact they made in a short period of time is long lasting, and they were very influential. So that I understand. Even if your career was cut short by death or whatever it is, your music could be very influential and that kind of stuff. But you look at somebody like Ralph Macchio, like he's not influential. I don't have anything against him. He looks like a very sweet guy. I want to know what his fucking he's 64 years old. He looks like he's 22. I want to know his skin regimen, what the hell he's doing. He's a good actor. There's nothing wrong with him, but he's not like Hall of Fame material. He's not a legend. He's not up there with Cary Grant and Humphrey Bogart, Harrison Ford. He shouldn't have a star. He shouldn't have a star. He should not have a star, in my opinion. And that's not personal. It's just what it is. What it is. Anyway, but yeah, Darren's right. Jim Morrison. That's who I was trying to say. People probably already said it. Jim Morrison. Yeah, there it is. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Josh Stevens, 499, says, you bring up legacy movie stars. Is there any candidate your age or younger that might be considered the next true movie star? Maybe Tom Hardy, etc. Well, I think You know what? I think right now, I think Leonardo DiCaprio, who's a couple years older than me, what is he? Is he 50, 49? He's a few years older than me, but not by much. I would say he's got that movie star, but I don't think he'll ever be remembered as that kind of a movie star, because when he started to really gain traction in the late 90s, early 2000s, what a movie star was, and because of the internet, and everything, you know it was already changing, right? And you have to remember that how movies are marketed and what movies are today are very different than what they were 30 or 40 or 50 years ago. Like today, it's all about sequels, it's all about the IP, it's all about the characters. Whereas many moons ago, coming up through the 40s and the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, and even the 80s to a degree, although the 80s is when it started to change, but there was still that residual carryover, which is why Harrison Ford was so huge. Back in those days, it was all about the movie star. You went to the movies to see, I got to go see that new Cary, or that Humphrey Bogart film, or that Cary Grant film, or that Clark Gable film. Like you went to see them. Like now, it's like, if people really cared about Robert Downey Jr., then why is it just Iron Man movies he's in that do well? Because it's really about Iron Man. And he's good as Iron Man. They see him as Iron Man. But I remember when he did Iron Man, or Iron Man 2 or 3 or whatever it was, and then he switched gears and he did The Judge, which was a drama or whatever, and it completely failed. It tanked. Well, where were all these Robert Downey Jr. fans? Because that's not what it's about anymore. But years ago, like I remember years ago, it was, oh, dude, you want to go see that new Harrison Ford movie? Now, that doesn't mean that every Harrison Ford movie he did was a success, because it wasn't. It wasn't. But Harrison Ford was a name. It was like, oh, fuck yes, Harrison Ford. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, and so it's very different. And there was no internet, and there was a mystique around movie stars, and they seemed unobtainable and unreachable and not tangible. And there was this aura around them. They were larger than life. And even the directors were large. Spielberg, oh my God, what does that mean? Holy shit, John Carpenter, what does it mean? I don't know. It was different. And then the internet changed all that. Now we know everything there is to know about a movie before it even comes out. We know everything there is to know about a movie. I mean, look at Scream. You knew nothing about Scream in 1996. Nothing. Nothing. And that was 1996. You knew nothing. Look at how much we know about Scream 7. And they're still shooting it. Like, it's a different world. The romanticism is gone. We're desensitized. That aura and that mystique, that Hollywood mystique that was so prevalent through the golden age of Hollywood, even up and through the 80s. Again, that's when things began to change because the blockbuster really started to take off at that time. But there was still that residual carryover. But by the time you get to the 2000s and the internet and social media, oh, it's gone. It's gone. Like it's very different. So I would say that a modern day movie star would be Leonardo DiCaprio, and he tends to play it as very much old school because I don't think he's on social media. He's not chatting with his Instagram followers. He's not like, hey, what's going on, Bob? He's not. He's very much a classical movie star in a modern sort of world. He's got the looks. He's got that kind of vibe. So I'd say him. Obviously Tom Cruise is a movie star for sure, but he's different than what like the golden age or what the kind that I'm talking about. But he is, Tom Hanks as well. But like modern today, Tom Hardy, no, 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 Tom Hardy, no, no, he's not a name. Yeah, I mean, he's a name, but he's not like he just, you know what I mean? Like, like if I say Harrison Ford, Tom Cruise, Tom Hardy, it's different. He's not operating on the same, weight behind it. You know what I mean? Um, so no, I wouldn't say Tom Hardy. But there's others. I mean, but it's always changing, right? Like what a movie star is today is just not what it used to be. It's not what it used to be. Um, have I got all the super chats? I think I have. I think I have. Um, Robert Thidoff, Dave, I'm going to the Destin, Florida area in May to check out all the Jaws 2 sites. Very cool. I'm even going to go snorkeling on the Aquanaut. I think it's Aquanaut boat that was used for the lobster scuba diving scene. That's very cool. Very cool. Have fun, man. Have fun. Um, Let me see. Yes, I agree. I was going to mention him. Of course, he's a lot older than me, but I was going to mention George Clooney. Yes, George Clooney definitely had that leading man movie star qualities. And that's part of it. When I talk about that classic movie star, Humphrey Bogart, Clark Gable, Jimmy Stewart, Cary Grant, Harrison Ford, even Gene Hackman to a degree, you know, there's a leading man. So first of all, most of these classic movie stars are leading men. They are generally speaking, stereotypically very handsome, although you don't always have to be, but usually that's kind of how it is. And they're leading men, and they have leading men qualities. They're leading men in films. They get top billing. They lead the films that they're in. They're not There's other characters they're supporting, but they're not generally part of an ensemble. Generally, um, and there's a vulnerability to them as well. There's sort of that not anti-hero, but not anti-hero, but reluctant hero. There's like a reluctant hero quality to them. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I guess I just got to do it. I guess I got to get up there and do it. There's a reluctant kind of hero quality. It's very different. And those kinds of movie stars, and George Clooney definitely has that, although he doesn't really do those kind of movies, but he definitely has the movie star leading man looks. Yes, 100%. And he definitely has that Cary Grant, look, like that quality, that classic golden age kind of look. And Harrison Ford did too, for sure. Like you look at Ford in the late 70s, early 80s, like he was handsome as all belief, man. I mean, even Carrie Fisher said that about him when he walked onto the set. It was like, this is a movie star, and yeah, like he was, and he's again, you don't know much about him. Well, I do because I've read his biography 9 times, but he's not on social media. He doesn't get caught up in the drama. He's not on TikTok farting into a glass. You know what I mean? Like, he's just that old school. He's one of the last old school movie stars, and Gene Hackman as well. Clint Eastwood. Like these guys are. It's it, man. It's a completely different era. A completely different era. Josh McKenna sends in a very generous super chat. Thank you, Josh of 1999. Says, you once said you watched Don't Go Into the Woods. Yes, I did, Josh. Yes, I did. So-called video nasty. I didn't know it was a video nasty until I did the show with Darren. But compared to the Terrifier 3 shower scene, it's laughable. Oh, of course, I would say most of the video nasties, although I haven't seen all of them, most of them are probably pretty tame compared to some of the Terrifier stuff. Why was it even labeled a video nasty? Art the Clown makes it look pathetic. I have no idea, Josh. That's a message for Darren. I think Darren is still in the chat, so maybe he can answer that. Yeah, Don't Go Into the Woods. I remember I was hanging out with Bruce at his place in the early 90s. And so we were teenagers and we were looking for something to watch. We were looking for a movie to watch, probably a horror film. And his mom had a bunch of VHS tapes. And I came across this VHS tape, this movie called Don't Go Into the Woods. And it looked, Friday the 13th-ish. And I was like, oh, maybe we should watch this. So I don't know if we went to the store, got some chips, or we cooked up some popcorn or something. And we sat down and we started watching Don't Go Into the Woods. This is probably like 1993, 1994, long time ago. And we just were like, even then, we were like, what the hell is this shit? Like, this is like atrocious. The acting is terrible. The editing is terrible. The production value is terrible. Like, what is this? And there were moments where like somebody gets their arm chopped off and the blood is spurting from their arm, but you can clearly see that they have their arm underneath their shirt and you can see like the tube of blood. Like, it was just like, what are we watching? I don't think we watched the whole thing. I think we like stuck it out for maybe an hour and a bit or something, but oh, it's dreadful. And then when I had Patreon, I don't have it anymore, but when I had Patreon, I did it as one of my Saturday movie nights. It might have been the last Saturday movie night I did. And I watched the whole thing, and it is just as bad as I remembered it. This is a couple years ago now. It dragged and dragged and dragged. It should have ended like multiple times. Oh, it was atrocious. It was awful. That and a movie from 2005, which wasn't a video nasty, obviously, because it came out in '05, called Motorhome Massacre. Dreadful film. Dreadful film. It just atrocious. Awful. And it was distributed by Lionsgate. But Lionsgate, like sometimes these studios, although I don't want to lump everybody into it, but Lionsgate especially would just distribute like straight to DVD, god awful dog shit films. And in 2005, I was still working part time at a video store. I hadn't gone full time voiceover quite yet. And I had, um, so I was still at the store and I rented because we could get rentals for free. And I saw, oh, Motorhome Massacre. That sounds kind of cool. Oh, Lionsgate. Oh, maybe it's pretty good. Dreadful, god awful, 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 terrible. So yeah, those two movies, Motorhome Massacre and Don't Go Into the Woods. Don't go into the woods, folks. Let me see. Rob Thidoff, 4.99. Dave, do you think River Phoenix would have been an old school leading man and Hollywood star? I don't know if he could have kept clean. Perhaps he was a good looking young man, and he definitely was a good actor. His brother is a great actor, as we know, in Joaquin. So I think, yeah, I think he could have. If you want to see a great movie, again, it's one of my favorite Harrison Ford movies. It didn't do very well at the box office, but it was the movie he did after Witness. It's called The Mosquito Coast. And there's a couple of movies that Harrison Ford, I think, should have been. I can't say should have been. I don't know who else was nominated at that time, but he was nominated for Best Actor for Witness. Makes sense. He's great in it. He's fantastic in The Mosquito Coast. River Phoenix plays his son in it. Helen Mirren plays his wife in it. So check it out. Fantastic movie. It's a drama. It's great. And the other one, of course, is regarding Henry, which I thought he was fantastic in. But yeah, River Phoenix, yeah, he could have been something special. He could have been something special. James McMillan, welcome to McCrazy level number 2. Amazing. Thank you, James. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Jacob says most of my favorite actors are character actors these days. They are there are movie stars, excuse me, but they do middling to bad commercial stuff. There are movie stars these days. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, it's just because, the industry has changed, right? It's the era of the requels, sequels, nostalgia, and blockbusters. James Bentley sends in £4 and 99 pence and says, "Hey, Dave, I'm going to LA for the first time in a few weeks from the UK. Amazing. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the city. I remember saying you liked it." I did. I've been to LA a number of times. I've been to LA. How many times have I been? I've been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6, half a dozen times at least. And I like it. I don't know if you're going to rent a car, but I did. I rented a car each time I went. And well, not the first time I went, because I went with my acting group back in 2003. So we were all that, yeah, I didn't have a car then, but as when I went again, starting in 2015, I would always rent a car. And it's great because you can go, you can go wherever you want and at your leisure. And if you're not from a big city, you're from the UK. If you're from London, although you have to remember you're driving on the opposite side of the road here in North America. But um, one of the things I was worried about driving in LA, of course, is the traffic, right? But I'm from Toronto, and Toronto, Canada has some of the worst traffic in the world, actually. Like it's up there with the likes of London and New York and LA, and it's some of the worst in the world is here in Toronto. So I drive in Toronto traffic all the time. And so driving in Toronto traffic prepared me for driving in LA traffic. LA traffic's nothing. Like people are like, oh, I hate LA. I'm just like, yeah, this is nothing. This is like driving in Toronto. So that didn't phase me one bit. But because I don't know the city, of course, I know it better now. But because I didn't know the city when I first got there, it wasn't the traffic that was intimidating. It was more making sure that I knew the turnoffs and where I'm going to get. I have to. Oh, is that the? Because you have to pay attention to the road, but also know where to turn off, right? And driving in Toronto, I know the city so well. I don't have to think about that. I don't. I'm not going. Oh, where's the? I just do what I do. And so if you're driving, if you're not from a big city, and you plan on driving, yeah, you're probably going to have a double whammy there because of the traffic, and also because not knowing the city very well. But if you're from a big city where you're used to a lot of traffic, it probably won't be a big deal. You'll just have to, figure out where you're going. But that's what GPS is for, and it's great. I would stay away from Skid Row if I were you, the seedy part of downtown Los Angeles. I would stay away. You don't want to be down there at night. Let's just say that. And I would stay more to the more, you know, touristy areas, perhaps, just because it's probably a bit safer than venturing off into the seedy areas of LA. But it's really ironic because downtown Los Angeles, you have the part of Skid Row, which is the poorest. I mean, if you don't know what it is, look it up. And then not like, 30 miles north, you have like the rich and famous in the Hollywood Hills. I mean, the contrast of the poorest of the poor and the richest of the rich it's hilarious. But you know what? I would go to, the beach, go to Santa Monica Pier, drive up the coast. Yeah, just do some touristy things and enjoy the hell out of yourself. But yeah, I do like LA. I do. Um, James McMillan says, "Hi, I'm back as a member for your YouTube channel. Thank you, James. Appreciate that, buddy." Jeff Harris 999 says, "Hey Dave, do you have a favorite Jack Nicholson movie? Crazy too. He's going to be 90 soon. It's good to see he's enjoying retirement. Jack gave us a lot of great performance. He absolutely did. Jack Nicholson was a movie star. Not quite. He was a movie star. He definitely was a movie star. Not quite in the same ways, but definitely a movie star. I mean, The Shining is a classic, but I loved him in Chinatown. I loved him in, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I liked him even in the remake of the Departed. I thought he was great in that. Um, so yeah, those are a few anyway. He's great. He's great. Yeah, Jack. I mean, again, these legends, guys. These legends. They're getting up there now. They're getting up there now. These legends. These titans. I don't know what we're gonna do. Um, yeah, I didn't eat out much when I was in LA. Cameron 117 is talking about. Oh, there's definitely great restaurants, and we did eat out for sure. We ate at oh God, what is the name of that restaurant? It's famous, right on Hollywood Boulevard. Mancuso's? Is that the name? John Carpenter, Nick Castle, they go there all the time. We went there. Is it called Mancuso's? Cuso's? Am I saying why is that name in my head? Anyway, it's right on Hollywood Boulevard. Great restaurant. They filmed a bit of The Irishman there. They film movies in there all the time. We ate there. We ate at a couple of, but we just ate at a couple like regular kind of stuff, like, a Greasy Spoon. We eat at just regular, like we didn't actually go and do like real great restaurants like LA pizza. You know what I mean? We didn't do that. We didn't do that. But anyway, yeah, there's definitely a lot of food you can look out for sure. Um, Let me see. I just want to make sure I got them all. You got that, got that, got that. I think I've got them all. I think I do. Yeah, yeah, I think I do. Just another reminder, folks. The voiceover workshop I'm doing, introductory voiceover workshop. If you're interested, and you're an aspiring voice actor, or you just want to know more about the voiceover business, email me at davemcraeofficial@gmail.com. At the beginning of the show, I had 3 spots left. I might be able to push a fourth. So let me know if you're interested. It's a complete one day, an afternoon introductory workshop into the world of professional voiceover and voice acting. We're going to do it over Zoom. I did it a couple years ago. It was a lot of fun. It's 150 USD, but we're going to go over everything. And I'm going to set you up. If you're an aspiring voice actor, I will set you up in what you need to know to take the next steps. Or maybe you just want to know about, or know about this part of the entertainment industry. And if that's the case, then that's okay too. We're going to talk about agents and demos and managers and publicists and unions and the voiceover categories and scripts and breakdown and network promos and commercials and home studios and all that kind of jazz. So if that interests you, email me at the link. Serious inquiries only, of course. You got to be serious about this. Email me at davemcraeofficial@gmail.com. DAVEMCRAE official@gmail.com. And it's a complete 101 voiceover 101 introductory workshop into the world of voice acting. And yeah, I'm going to demystify a lot of the stigma and stereotypes around it as well. So just wanted to mention that. Let me see here. Scroll back. Warren Armour says the most shocking, most disturbing movie I ever saw was the original Last House on the Left. Really? It seemed so real. I had nightmares for weeks. Interesting. I was a little late. I don't know when you saw it, Warren, but I was a little late to the party when I saw it. And I can appreciate it for what it was and what it is. And certainly I can imagine it, at that time in the early 70s for sure. But I was a little late to the party when I saw it. So it was very dated when I saw it, and it didn't really have an effect on me. I would say, don't Spit on Your Grave and those movies affected me a little more. I would say they seemed a little more visceral and a little more gritty and a little more real, even the original, than the original Last House on the Left. The original Last House on the Left is yeah, I mean, but it's not it didn't quite impact me in the ways that it probably would have in the early 70s. All right, I'll go for a few more minutes here, and then we'll call it a evening because it's 8:30, and maybe I'll go get a bag of chips. There's a 7-Eleven around the corner from where I live. Well, not around the corner, but, down a ways. But there's a 7-Eleven, and I'm wondering if I should go and get some chips and then watch a movie. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. See how I feel. Brandon Barry. Whoops. Almost spilt my water. Brandon Barry, $4.99. Thank you, Brandon. Says, Dave, do you think this will be Tom Cruise's last Mission Impossible? Well, you never say never. You never say never. But he's getting up there, although he's still doing, I mean, it's amazing what he's able to do. I mean, how much more can you do? Unless they want to do a Bond Mission Impossible crossover. I hope they don't do that. I really hope they don't do that. But, I don't know. You never know. You never know. But what has he done now? Like 8 or 9 of these things? I mean, but isn't it? Are the Mission Impossible movies like James Bond? And I'm actually asking because are they like could another like, could they do more Ethan Hunt movies just with a younger Ethan Hunt and not Tom Cruise? Would the audience buy into that? Or is it very much Tom Cruise's thing because he's done so many? And this isn't quite the same structure as a James Bond movie where you could do that. Or could you do that? Could you do that? I wonder if you could do that. And then you just hire a younger actor to play Ethan Hunt. I don't know. That's a question for you right there. Fliximetry says he wants to shoot a film in space. So maybe. Yeah, I guess you never know, right? I guess you never know. Do it! Alec Baldwin said it. Okay, let me just, before we call it an evening here, I didn't miss any, right? Jeff Harris, I got that. James McMillan, I got that. TSL Movie Podcast. Oh, right. About the video nasty. Hey, Josh, a lot of it was down to timing, cover art, and concept. You have to remember, even movies like The Thing, Prom Night, and Dawn of the Dead were labeled as nasties. It's amazing. It's true. And maybe, yeah, they're just, yeah, because a lot of the times I learned from Darren, a lot of the times it's true. It was down to the cover art. Like a lot of the times they didn't even watch the movie. It was just the cover art was so, gratuitous or suggestive that sometimes it was just, oh, this has got to be awful. And it really wasn't. But they just labeled it. That's wild, man. Wild stuff. Brandon Barry says, I could see Glenn Powell next as Ethan Hunt. Yeah, maybe. Ross Silly says, I think another actor could, and I think that's what Tom wants. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, you could keep it going then. Because, yeah, I mean, it's time to pass the torch, Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, folks. Well, listen, that's going to do it for me here on, this isn't really a McRae Live. This is just kind of a Friday night hangout. But I really appreciate you tuning in and watching. I know it's a bit of a different vibe, but I just didn't have any desire to sit at my computer. So I just thought I would sit here and just hang out with you guys for an hour and a half. I really appreciate the member chats, the super chats. Thank you so much. If you want to be a member here on the channel, hit that join button and become a member. We're gearing up to do a horror movie night soon. And that should be a lot of fun as well. And don't forget, folks, Voiceover Workshop. If that interests you and you want to be a part of it, email me at davemcraeofficial@gmail.com and we'll see if we can slip you in there. All right, guys, have a great rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend, and I will be back very soon. Now, how do I get out of this live? Oh, it's the X up there. That's right. Okay. I was like, how do I get out of this? Have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great Friday night, and I will talk to you all very, very soon. Alrighty. In the meantime and in between time, we'll talk to you soon. There you are. Cheers.